Good day. We are going to talk about for loops, and I'm doing a particular one where I have what is referred to as a nested for loop. I've got 3 for loops right here. I've got the for loop, which encapsulates, or I shouldn't use the word, encloses these other 2 for loops. And the way I did that was I had an open curly bracket here, then I had a closing curly bracket here. Then I have my for loop here, and then I have my for loop here. Let's look at each part of each for loop. Right here is considered the initialization part. So I'm setting 3, or I'm saying setting R to 3. Then I'm checking to see is R greater than 0. Is this a true or false statement? If it's true, then I continue doing the loop. Then I have the decrement operator. This particular one is R minus minus. So it decrements after I've gone through it once. After my initialization, then I decrement it by 1. This one right here, I'm setting the value of C to 1. I'm checking to see is C less than R. And then after I've gone through it at least once, then I've got to increment it by 1 because I have C++. Then once this fails, then I go down to the next for loop. This next for loop is I take the value of R and then I assign it to C. Then I check to say is C less than or equal to 3. If it is still true, then I go ahead and I do my for loop. The next time I come back to my for loop, my increment operator is going to be added 1 to it, and then I'm going to check again to see if it's valid. And once it fails, then I come down to here. Then after I've printed that, then I reach here, and I come back up here, then I decrement by 1. And I check to see is R greater than 0. So now I'm going to actually step through what happens on each of the variables. So R is set to 3. Is R greater than 0? Yes, it is. Then I go to C. C gets initialized. And now C is set to 1. And it checks, is C less than R? So is C less than R? And the answer is true. Then I go through and I go back around in this loop. Then I do C++, and then that makes the value of C 2. Then after I make the value of C 2, I check is C less than R, and the answer is true. So I go ahead and I do a print. Somebody might say, well, Mr. Cusack, why is it that you're printing straight across? Why not print and then go down? Well, when you look, I've got a print statement, not a print ln. When I get print ln, it goes to the next line, and when we encounter it down here, we go to the next line. So now I come back around and I check and I add 1 to C. Then C is 3. And then I check is C less than R. Well, this particular situation fails. Then I go down to here, and then I assign the value of R to C. And since it's still the same thing, the computer doesn't know it's the same thing, but it's going to move the value of R to 3. And so it's going to lay at 3. This is kind of throw you off because sometimes it's, well, it's already 3, Mr. Cusack. Why is it that I need to reassign it? The computer doesn't know. Remember, you're the smart one. The computer is dumber than a pile of bricks. You just have to follow its directions and be very specific. So now let me check, is C less than or equal to 3? And the answer is true. So then now I'm going to print my asterisk. And then I come back around, I add 1 to C. Now I have 4. And 4, let's check, is 4 less than or equal to 3? And the answer is yes. So then I drop down here, go to system.out.println, and that means I'm going to a new line. So now I come back up here, and my value of R is going to go down to 2 because R minus minus. So now it's 2. Then I'm going to check. I'm going to go back to C. And then what's going to happen, this whole thing's going to start over again right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cross it out. And then I'm going to set C to 1. Then I'm going to check to see is C less than R, and the answer is yes. So then I'm going to go ahead and it says to print a dash. Then I come back around and I have to add 1 to C, which is going to make it 2. Then when it makes it 2, I go check is C less than R, and the answer is no. I drop down here. Then I move the value of R to C, like we said before. This really doesn't change the outcome, but it just basically overlays it again. Then I check to see is C less than or equal to 3, and the answer is yes. So then I go ahead and I print the asterisk. Then I go ahead and I go back up and I add 1 to C, which makes it 3. Then I check to say is C less than or equal to 3, and the answer is true. Then I print another asterisk. Then I make it 4. Then I check is C less than 3, and the answer is no. I drop down. I go to the new line. Then I come up here and I decrement R by 1. So now R is 1. I check to C, and I go back here and C is 1. Then I check is C less than R, and the answer is true, so I don't execute this for loop at all. Then I come down here and I move the value of R to C, which happens to be the same thing. So that's going to be 1. Then I check is C less than 3, and the answer is yes. Then I go and I print an asterisk. Then I come back around, I add 1 to C. Then I check is C less than or equal to 3, and the answer is yes. So I go ahead and print another asterisk. Then I add 1 more, my C++, my increment operator. Then I print another asterisk. So at this point right here, I add 1 more, which is 4, and I know that C is not less than or equal to 3. It drops down here to print LM. That means I go to the new line. Then I come back up, and then R gets decremented to 0. Well, what happens now is that the R has a value of 0, and that makes this statement false. R is not greater than 0. That drop to the end, and then my process is done, and this is the result. Good luck.